usual. Tonight I got my guy up in here, man. Lunacy. About to drop that shit for y'all. So y'all need a high production recording. Come holler at your boy Turtle. Holla back.
A lot of niggas blocking, now they see me rocking with a style, but my shit knocking in the trunks of many niggas in the town. My eyes have seen so much destruction, there's gotta be a change. So many killers live amongst us, the families live in pain. Your niggas fall into the struggle from the pressure of their peers.
What's up, man? We back with another episode, man, of The Journey to Healing, man. We got a special guest in the building, man. Once again, man, can you introduce yourself to the people, man, who may not seen the last video, man? Let people know where you from, bro.
Okay, first of all, I'm from Joliet. I was born in Michigan, but we came to Joliet in like '73, something like that. You know, I've been in J-Town my whole life. My name is Stephen Kelly. I used to run track. You know, I still got a little record up there, 400-meter dash, although I won all that, you know. But, you know, I've been in Joliet, you know, and I was here the first time, and, you know, I lost my son, so I'm here to clarify a few things.
That's what's up, man. Sorry about your loss, man. Was it yesterday or the day before marked the year?
15th, yeah.
15th.
February the 15th is when he was killed. February 15th.
February 15th. Can you tell us a little bit about him, man? Like, first of all, who is he and what's his name and other people?
Well, for everybody, anybody out there listening, my son, his name was Andrew Stephen Kelly Knox. You know, he was named after me. You know, Stephen. You know, and Andrew. I don't know where Andrew part come from. I think maybe his uncles or something like that. But he was born here in Joliet also, and you know, he was a problem child from jump. You know, since when he was when he was little. You know, he was always into something, or you know. But he got pushed to that point. You know, because when you're in the hood, you know, in the project shit, you know, you either fight or you run from it. You either fight or run. You know, so he chose to fight. You know, so. From the beginning, it's been a problem, you know, but back then it wasn't really a problem. I was proud of it. You know, you took care of yourself, you know, you didn't anybody fuck with you, you know what I'm saying? You're getting the ass, you know. But as time went on, you know, it grew. You know, we didn't live together. I didn't live with my son, you know, so sometimes it's kind of hard to parent a couple families. You know, you got a couple of kids here, you know, you got a family here, so I couldn't really, you know, do what I want to get my hands on when I needed to. Sometimes, you know, mothers be a little bit softer. But for the most part, you know, that's, you know, he went to school, you know, he kind of bad. He cut up in school also, you know, wouldn't really listen, you know, and that comes from, you know, father. You know, I kind of blame myself, you know. I should have probably, you know, been over there a little more to getting his ass, but his mama always protecting him and shit. You know, our mothers is, you know, don't want to get his ass, they don't want to get his ass beat. You know, they didn't never tell you about shit until the last minute. Then when they do, he ain't there. So, you know, that's, you know, pretty much who he was. And Andrew Stephen Kelly Knox, you know, came up on born here, but he raised on the hill. He was raised on the hill, and then on the hill, I think he took part in the vice lord. First it was the folks, you know, then the vice lords. I guess that's when he started, you know, seeing himself with that gang shit, man. And he might have been almighty for a minute. I don't think he lasted it out, you know, but he wound up being almighty, you know.
Yeah. You
know, one shit to that. That's what he's seen coming up though, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you explained, we was talking before the cameras came on, you was explaining like some things that's that kind of like happens after, because we see a lot of things after a person passes away, man. We start to like kind of like see life, especially if it's somebody that's close to you, you kind of like start seeing things in a different light.
Wow.
So can you explain to us like some of the things that's been going on in your life, like just from, you know, just even with yourself or some things that you would like to share?
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, first off, anybody that have lost a child, you know, lost somebody, like I said, close to you, lost a kid, I take my hats off to you because my question is, when do her pain stop? You know what I'm saying? It's been a year, and, you know, when do it slow down? And so I take my hat off, and kudos to anybody that lost somebody, because I used to see it on TV and hear about it, but I didn't realize it hurt this bad. But yeah, man, you know, it's some things that happened to me, man, that ain't never happened in my life. I seen on TV, like, you know, when somebody, you know, my son, he was strong in life, you know, mentally, physically, a strong person, and apparently he's strong after life, because there's been several things that's happened to my daughter's phone, his videos popping up, the phone coming up with his face on it, and you know, my daughter was stricken by seeing 215 a lot. That's his, when he died, or 1023. His numbers and everything he used to say. But some shit happened to me in particular, man. Like I think a week, maybe a week, not even a week. It was like a couple of days actually after he died. I don't know if the camera, I don't know what angle we going, but I was messing with my phone. I was trying to dial a number out, and all of a sudden my phone just kept on, started going 777-755-7755. So I'm sitting there looking at my phone like, damn, what's wrong with it? So I tried to stop it, so I stopped it, and it just started again, blinking and going through all kind of stuff. And then my phone actually, somebody started controlling it, and it was looking like, because my son used to always grab my phone and be like, no, Pops, you need TikTok, you gotta put this on there, this and that, so he took it and he scrolled down on the phone. Because first of all, I had wrote something in the obituary, I had wrote something that I was gonna put in the obituary, and I had a text in my phone, and I sent it to my wife so she could send it so it can get printed out. And it was something long, a little thing I wrote for him, and I love you, and how I'll be there, and I love you for eternity and whatnot. But anyway, my phone was tweaking, and I don't mean to jump subjects like that, but my phone was tweaking, and somebody took control of it and scrolled up. And went past the number it had to go into, went inside my wife, my fiance Lisa's number. Not only did she go into the number, it had to hit it again just to go into the text. So it went into the text after it hit the number and start scrolling again and went past, because I have a lot of texts and a lot of things on my phone. It's a Droid, so I had a lot of years built up, a lot of months. Scrolled down again, missed it, went into the text, and start opening up the text where it said, I love you unconditionally, and like I said, it's hard to believe, and it's hard for me to even explain this sometimes, because, I get the feeling like, people looking at me like, that's impossible. But like I said, that was one of the weirdest things to ever happen to me in my life. Like I said, he took the phone and DRESWKI, he scrolled down, went to Lisa's name, went into the text, then not only went to the text, had to scroll, and kept going past it and coming back. That's too many coincidences in a row, So, that was some weird shit right there. And not only that, when we went to South Carolina, it was a lot of weird things, like a hawk. I don't know if people know about hawks, but the bird, like a hawk, it's kind of spiritual. If you look it up, the Indians believed in it, spiritually, and if it guides you, it watch over you, we were in the Airbnb, the big one, like a big hotel, and we were 13, 17 floors, and we were only on the 8th floor. We were on the 8th floor, and and you got people during the middle of the day, people all around us, people down on the beach, and we come in, and I'm getting ready to go out on the balcony and chill for a minute. And the big ass hawk, it was so big, I couldn't believe it was standing there. It's the hawk standing there. We take a picture. I'm sitting there like, oh man, please take a picture of this hawk. And I was so shocked that it was so big, and it was on the glass window between us, so it kind of scared me. So Lisa took a picture of it, and then we found out later on that we looked it up. We looked up that, and that's kind of like somebody that passed. They watch over you. They send out like a bird or something, and it could be anything, really. And I could talk about this for hours, man. That same night, I got it on video on my phone. We see some anatomy, and something in the air, man. Just it what it was. It looked like a plane. All I know it was blinking in and out. It was changing forms and colors. And I'm sitting there looking at least like, is people in this building looking at this? So I recorded. That happened. Then we walking on the beach at night. Myrtle Beach. Ain't no time on Myrtle Beach. You stay there out there all night. So we walking, chilling, and then a fox ran up on us like it was finna bite me. I had to pull Lisa behind me, like I was grabbing. I was like, hey, because she said it's a dog. I said, ain't no damn dog. It was this long, man. This was all happening in one night. All happening in one night, brother. Like I said, I could talk for hours, man, about. Not only the fox, man. Then we in the water. I'm out there swimming, right? They say, okay, Myrtle Beach, a lot of shark attacks. Be careful. I'm swimming, right? I'm out there. I went only up to my chest, whatever. Coming back. Lisa finally decided to come out of the water. I said, I'm begging her. Days, baby, just come out in the water. I get her out in the water. We only up to her knees, right? I'm looking down, man. Shark, about 5 feet, 5 feet long, right next to Lisa. I pulled her so hard, we almost both fell in the water, man. And that's another thing. I'm saying, there's a lot of nature, and this is I all contributed to my son. Because I've been down there before, and none of this happened. And that's only a few things that night. It ain't really about what happened like that, but I don't want to go through all that. But it's just so much shit was happening, man. Like I said, the shark, the fox, the damn hawk and the phone, all that happened in 1 week. All that, like 1 or 2, all that happened at the same time, man. I couldn't believe it, man. But the weirdest thing that happened to me was the phone thing, and I wrote something, it's saying that I love you, and for eternity, and whatnot, and the way he went into the phone, scrolled down, passed it, went back, went into the number, then had to go into the messages, then had to go. That's just too much, you know what I'm saying? And Lisa's sitting there right there with me. She started crying. She backed up. She said her hair stood up, and I'm sitting there holding the phone. I got nervous myself. I'm looking around like, is it like that when you die? You can take care. You can come and do what you want. You can control people's phone. And my daughter swears. She's been telling me, she swears every time she opens the phone, his videos be showing. At first, I'm looking at her like, I never lost a brother, so I know you hurt. And I doubted her. I didn't doubt, I just doubted, how that might happen. I never doubt that anybody ever come tell me something like that about somebody they love in the past and try to get in contact with them. I'm gonna believe it. I'm a true believer now when it comes to that.
It's almost like a supernatural thing.
Scared me too. It was scary a little bit. I was like, I lose my son. I was like, oh man. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's in the same room where he used to come up in the crib, and sometimes he come up in there and we go upstairs. He had messing with his head a little bit in the same room, everything. So, and plus I got his ashes there, so I don't know if that may add it to it also. So
yeah. So do you? Did he have any children?
Yeah, kids. Andrew, he had about 4.
Oh, okay.
He had about 4, 1 on the way. He had little kids on the way. He didn't tell me about the ones that was on the way, but I heard that he had maybe some kids on the way. I'm going through talking to the mothers right now. I think one of the ladies lost one, and one I think she had one. Forgot her name. I'm getting old, but we talking right now to see if we can do something about to see if it's a baby. Now you can't just go by word. My son ain't here, so I'd rather just get a test, and then everything be everything. Don't have to have no doubts. Because sometimes just because a kid look like you or have features don't mean it's yours. Nah. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he had about 4 kids.
Yeah. Because the reason I ask is like a lot of times we don't think about the children that lost the parent. Like we lost our child too, but that child lost their parent too, So it's kind of like almost like a domino effect, like a whole nother generation of our children not having a dad inside the household again. So it's like it trickles down from generation to generation, unfortunately, because like we know the guidance that we can give the child. So we talked about like him not being a saint.
Oh yeah. I wanted to clarify a few things. The first time I came, I was still hurting. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted everybody to know that everybody got the good points and the bad points and do the dirt. But my son, from Joliet, he had a name, and the police, they was tired of him. Because ever since he's been a kid, man, there's been times where, I come down to Joliet Street and it's the whole street blocked off. I mean, you got 50 people outside, house surrounded, and then Kevin, I don't want to say the name. Well, I guess it can't. He's a cop, Kevin Robinson. I don't know if you know the cop. He like my age. He a white shirt. He was like, man, he knows my son. He's like, well, you only one you can come talk to him, But man, he had what happened, man. His son went down. I guess he had a couple of those people he had, misunderstanding, man, and they got to shooting, man. Somebody got shot, and it was 50 police down there, man. That's when he was young. My daughter came down there to see him right before all that happened. In the midst of that, almost got hit. Everybody was rubbing on her, thinking she got hit because there was so many gun bullets. They were shooting him. She didn't realize she running up on him, and this happened. 2000. He had to be only about 15, 16. Well, probably about 16, 17, like that. And he got a little help, from his, his mother's, I ain't gonna lie sometimes, his mother kind of, she didn't get on his ass like she's supposed to, instead of, doing this, doing that, And I don't know if she did it, I don't know if he had guns, they always, the police was pissed off. They'll tell me where the gun at. That's all we want to know, where the gun at. They even searched me They thought I went in there and took the gun out trying to get it from him, you know what I'm saying? But he had a little inside help, you know what I'm saying? To get away with a few things, but that really made it worse for him. Because after high school, it got to, like I said, he started messing, I guess he got almighty, he was vice lord, and, and it got to where he, I don't really know all his business, of course, because I'm his father, but I used to hear about it. I knew a lot more than he thought, and if you live by the gun, more than likely you're going to die by it. That's what they say. But he did his dirt, man. And by the time he started getting 17, he went to the penitentiary. He went to the penitentiary maybe about 20, something like that, and that didn't do no better. He went in there, and I got a lot of, I got people. I'm older, I'm 52, 53 years old, so I got people in the penitentiary. I had a cousin in there that was like, hey, you got a son named DRESWKI? I was like, yeah. He said, this motherfucker, man, always fighting motherfuckers and shit, man, and was wrestling as a nigga on his knees. DRESWKI, he came home. He went to the penitentiary a couple times, like 3 times. But the first time he came home, and I cussed him the fuck out because he said he was wrestling niggas on his knees. I said, man, you ain't that tough. You ain't wrestling nobody on fucking knees, nigga. Get the fuck out of here. I had to apologize to him after that. I said, man, my cuddy, he been in and out the penitentiary his whole life. He said, man, some nigga in here, man, wrestling motherfuckers on his knees, man. I know that about my son. I know he a lot bigger than me. I didn't think he was that damn strong until he came home the second time, hitting all that weight and shit down in the basement. He put all that shit on the auto steel. I had like 400, damn near 400. But as he got older, I don't want to get off the subject, but he did, you fuck with him. He wasn't, a long time ago he told me he didn't believe in God, then he changed it up the next day and said he did. But when he said that, it kind of opened my mind to shit, man. So if you ain't, I'm a God-fearing person. So I don't wish death on nobody, unless I have to kill him before come to crib or something, some situation like that, trying to kill him and kill you. But he told me he ain't believe in God. So I think that's where, when he did his dirt, motherfucker try to murk him or, he get them. You know what I'm saying? You try to come kill him, he can kill you. You know what I'm saying? Or, like I said, it ain't like he just gave me a blueprint of everything he was fucking doing. It's just, I kind of know. I kind of know what the fuck he was doing. So he didn't have to tell me. They say the streets teach you, and the streets, what they say, the streets don't lie. The streets are lying, motherfucker. The streets be lying like, don't let no motherfucker tell you that shit. The streets is this, the streets teach, the streets don't lie. The streets is a lying bitch. Because first of all, my son, I don't mean to bring it up, but everybody know what I'm talking about. I'm from Joliet. This certain guy from Joliet, he got murdered. You know what I'm saying? They thought it was my son. Matter of fact, every time somebody got killed, I always had to hear DRESWKI did it. DRESWKI, every time a motherfucker got killed, I had to hear it. Motherfuckers come, they're going to try to come get him. Right? And they did. They always were trying to get him. He got shot in the neck, and the same night got shot in the stomach. You know what I'm saying? Shot in the hand. They was always trying to shit. So the streets, they kind of know the truth too, but the streets don't know what the fuck they're talking about either, because the time the boy's grave got trashed and the bottles got thrown on it, broke up his headstone, he was in the penitentiary. He was in jail. And they was talking about, he had people talking about, yeah, DRESWKI did it. DRESWKI did it. I think that was the last straw. I think that was I think motherfuckers, they was already trying to get him, because motherfuckers don't know unless you there, unless you there. So the streets will fuck you up. So if you was labeled for that and that's the life you live in, that's the life you had to lead. If it was up to me, I'd have got my son the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? But that I wanted to clarify that shit too. All the motherfuckers out here talking about, that grave that got trashed, my son didn't do that shit. I talked to him, he said, Daddy, I'm in jail. Motherfuckers out here talking about he cried. How the fuck he crashed and broke somebody's head? So first of all, that's disrespect. I taught my son better than that. No, it all depends on if you listen. That's way out. Just like I don't wish death. Even the motherfuckers that killed my son, I don't even wish death on them. They didn't know for any motherfucker out there, and the niggas that did kill my son, be happy about it. You know what I'm saying? You took part of that. But actually, it was everything that happens through God. God knows when you're going to die. He creates you. Where you're going to go. So just be happy that you was be able to be a part of that to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Ain't like you just, I'm going to kill him. No, it was his time. He lived that life. It was damn near ordained. That's the life you live. That's what's going to happen to you. I understand we all got our free will, but, I had to. That's ways I deal with it. That's the way I deal with it. His time is coming. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's out my bad. I just wanted to say real fast because that's like a lot of parents they tend to kind of like look over a lot of things and kind of like try to hide the facts about things. Whether like you wouldn't whether they right or wrong, and to a certain extent that should be true. That should be true, but for that's another thing too about that culture, about this culture that we seeing today, about the disrespect of the dead and those things like that.
You know what I'm saying? We hold
touch on that a little bit about that type of that culture that you see in today's society.
Man, you know, the thing and the reason why I think it's like that is because, you know, they had a time, excuse me, it was a period where, man, you know, the drugs hit hard, you know, the drugs hit hard, and a lot of people weren't raising their kids. And then, like you said earlier today, you know, a lot of fatherless children, you know, and they don't get taught like we did, you know what I'm saying? And whether it's the Bible or the Quran or however, whatever you read, you know, Buddhism or Hebrew, I mean, whatever, you know, that shit, you know, all that speaks on the you know, speaking on the dead, man, and you know, and kids nowadays, like I said, my son straight up told me, you know, he told me about a week later or something. He said, I do believe, but I kind of thought like that. That's why it's easy for them to kill, because they don't believe in God. So if they don't believe in God, they don't.